3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Hello guys, what is up and welcome back to the Sports Shift. My name is Ian and we have more F1 action to talk about. The Japan Grand Prix is here. So much to talk about, let's get started. So here are the driver standings after 2 races. Lando Norris remains in control. Max Verstappen is putting that donkey cart to the finish line. I don't know how he is in second place with such a terrible car right now, but he's the best driver on the track for a reason and he's putting up a fight. Meanwhile, George Russell very quietly putting in some consistent performances. No drama, not in the spotlight, but he's getting podium after podium and he's making that Mercedes work. Piastri with one of the best cars on the track, probably should be doing a little bit better, but back to winning ways, and it's going to be a very interesting battle between the two McLarens. I don't think anyone can challenge them. Kimi Antonelli, not too bad for a rookie. He's putting in some decent performances. Probably would like to be a little closer to Russell, but I think right now it's still okay. And Alex Albon, as usual, very fiery in that Williams, always putting up a fight. And after that, it's a little surprising that we have Esteban Ocon here, taking advantage of the opportunities given to him. Similarly, Lance Stroll and the two Ferraris with once again another disappointing weekend. Double disqualification. Yes, Lewis Hamilton was victorious in the sprint, but a lot of questions to answer for Ferrari. Not the way they wanted to start this season. Let's see if they can improve. So here are the constructor standings. McLaren firmly in first place. Mercedes very comfortably in second. And Max Verstappen dragging Red Bull along. A surprise Williams in fourth above Ferrari. Ferrari will probably filter into fourth once they learn to finish a race without disqualification. And then it's the fight for the mid-order, the likes of Haas, Aston Martin, Keke Sauber, and even RB. With Alpine back at the bottom, they've had a disappointing start to the season. They also had a disqualification last week. Jack Doohan is taking quite a bit of time to get accustomed to that Alpine seat. He actually had quite a big crash this weekend in FP2, but he's back racing, back ready to go for qualifying, so good news there. So here is our rookie leaderboard. Kimi Antonelli well in up front. He has the best car by quite a large margin, so no surprise there, but he's also probably the best driver of the bunch. In my opinion, the second best driver is probably Isaac Hadjar. However, he is yet to get on the scoreboard. Ollie Bearman with a very impressive drive, and maybe a little fortunate due to the disqualifications of the both Ferraris, but nevertheless taking the opportunity given to him and securing his first points for Haas. Let's see where the battle for second goes, or does Kimi Antonelli slip up? Right now he's looking very confident in that Mercedes seat, so I think he's able to get probably a top 6 finish in the overall leaderboard at this point. Can any of the other rookies put up a competitive approach? You know, the fight for seats is always difficult, so you always have to earn your seat and earn next season's seat as well. So how about some F1 news? Well, this has been the major talking point all week. After 2 disappointing races for Red Bull, Liam Lawson is swapping seats with Yuki Tsunoda. Yuki will be racing in the Red Bull for the first time for his home race in Japan. Liam Lawson returns after last season's late stint to his RB car, where he had quite an impressive run and probably the run that got him the Red Bull seat in the first place. He was very aggressive, he took no prisoners, and everyone's hoping that Liam can get back to those ways. It was very disappointing, all the pressure that was put on him after those 2 tough races, and I just want to see him have an impressive and confident drive this weekend. But all eyes will be on Yuki Tsunoda. He's put up quite a few good times in practice, and I think he's going to put up quite a stir in that Red Bull seat. I mean, he'll be riding along Max. I know the car is not the fastest, but it will be good in corners, and as we talk about in a little bit, Japan is a great track for that. So let's talk about the Japan Grand Prix? Well, the racers love this circuit because it's so unique and it puts a real test. It's full of a mix of elements. It's the only figure 8 circuit on the track, full of some intense turns, very technical in sector 1, and one of the slowest hairpins in turn 11. So the circuit is 5.8 kilometers. That means the Grand Prix will be 53 laps. It consists of 18 turns, and as unlike any other circuit, it's a figure 8, so it goes both clockwise and counterclockwise, meaning there will be heavy wear on tires from both sides, and usually that leans towards a 2-stop strategy. However, we were expecting a 2-stop in China a couple weeks ago, and most teams except one opted for the 1-stop just because they're losing too much time in the pit stop. As you can see, there isn't very much room for overtaking. Obviously, you can overtake down the main straight into turn 1, but other than that, there really isn't that much room for overtaking, so it does come down to strategy. You know how much Ferrari loves strategy. Anyway, we'll get there. It does come down to strategy, so that'll be very interesting. Also, tire management is going to be crucial, but to aid that, Pirelli are sending the 3 hardest tires that they have available: C1, C2, and C3, representing the hard, medium, and soft tires. Sometimes I'm just kind of hoping that Pirelli sends some softer tires just to mix things up a bit, force teams to have to go to pits, just trying to make things a little more exciting. You know, I find that we've been getting a lot of excitement off the track in terms of drama, speculation, that sort of thing. But on the track, in recent years, it's kind of been slowing down. Like, we were expecting so much overtakes last race in China, and it really was a bit disappointing. And now with a gap to McLaren, it does get a little bit disappointing. You look forward to the race, and then the race comes, you're like, oh, I mean, did it really stay up to watch that sort of thing, you know? So hopefully this one is a little more exciting. It's definitely going to be a lot very technical. It's going to challenge drivers. Most drivers love it. It's full of nostalgia. It's been around for so long, and I think it's very interesting. One thing to note is the track is very narrow. The whole first sector has been repaved, so it's going to take some getting used to. And there are 5 corners that have been removed from a grass runoff to a gravel runoff. One of the reasons that they do this is that this slows down the car, so it's for the safety of the drivers. However, that means that a car is more likely to get stuck running off on grass. You can recover running off into gravel. Very likely that you beach it and it forces a yellow flag and inevitably a safety car. So that means that there is a very likely chance that we will get a safety car in this race, which also plays into strategy, maybe the second pit stop. And I think that's one thing that can hamper the McLaren boys, because both of them will probably be at the front. You can always keep one at the front just in case that happens, to cover the other one, that sort of thing. But I do think this race will be pretty interesting, and it will be a lot closer than we expect. That being said, one of the reasons that the drivers love this track is the high-speed corners. Similarly to Spa, the racing drivers, they want to be going fast. Going fast into these corners is very interesting. I was watching Hamilton talk about it. He was saying that once you come into sector 2, there are quite a few like high-speed corners, and there's a bit of a headwind down the back straight, which can unsettle some of the drivers, and it should prove to be an interesting race. So let's make some predictions. Well, here you have it. I mean, it's hard to bet against McLaren. I would really like to see someone else challenge. Even if McLaren win a close race, that's alright. But until I see it, I'm going to have to put Lando to win. It's between him and Piastri. Whoever gets pole gets the preferential treatment in terms of strategy. But I think both will be near the top. George Russell has quietly been putting in great performances. And because McLaren will be fighting each other, I think he can nip second. And I'm pretty confident in Charles Leclerc. No disqualification this time, no damage to his car at the start. I think he can finally get on the podium this season. So here's my top 3. You can let me know what you guys think. Can Yuki challenge? Can Max challenge? Is it time for Lewis to actually show up in a Grand Prix? Or does Piastri become the king at McLaren? Let me know. Otherwise, that's going to do it for this video, guys. If you're staying up to watch the qualifying or the races, good luck to you. I sure will be as well, hoping for an interesting race. Otherwise, enjoy this weekend's action and see you guys later.